I welcome you for this class on modification of Rankine cycle to increase its efficiency. Now let us go ahead with the discussion. See, we can increase the boiler efficiency by increasing its superheat temperature. So that is heating the steam to very high temperatures, but it is limited to metallurgical conditions. So here, why metallurgical conditions? In the sense, I will underline this. We produce the steam inside the boiler, that is inside the tubes. So there is a certain limit of melting point, that is melting point for boiler tubes, that is material of the boiler tube, that is metal. So that is the first method. Next, another option for increasing the thermal efficiency of the steam turbine, that is Rankine cycle, is that is expanding the steam in the turbine in two stages. That is reheating the steam in between. So next, that is we can discuss that we have the modified Rankine cycle, that is called as reheat Rankine cycle. Second option is regenerative Rankine cycle. This is regenerative Rankine cycle. So we will discuss about these two cycles, that is reheat cycle and regenerative cycle, in this lecture. So let us start with reheat Rankine cycle. Reheat Rankine cycle. So let me explain about the schematic diagram of this cycle. So let me look into schematic diagram here. So as you know, Rankine cycle is a combination of boiler. This is the boiler, complete boiler. So this is turbine. Here I have condenser. Then again I have a pump here. So here all these four devices are connected by pipelines. The one thing that we can observe the change in reheat cycle compared to the Rankine cycle is we have a reheater device. This is called as reheat section of the boiler, so which is called as a reheater. So let us understand how the reheat cycle works from this schematic diagram. Friends, let's begin from the state 1. So this is our state 1. So what is the state 1? State 1 is the state of the steam which is coming out of the boiler. So we assume, or actually the steam comes out of the boiler in state 1 in the superheated condition. So after this, here we have the steam from the state 1 enters into the stage 1 of the turbine. So what is stage 1? Dear students, here in this explanation, the steam turbine is divided into two stages. The first stage, this is the first stage, what we have written here, this is high pressure turbine, means the steam from the boiler first enters the high pressure turbine stages, undergoes expansion, then produces WT1 amount of work, then it comes out of this turbine stage at state 2, then it enters the boiler again. It enters the reheater coils of the boiler, So wherein the steam again absorbs Q suffix reheat amount of heat energy from the reheater tubes and again it comes out at state 3. It comes out at state 3 here. So, the steam, reheated steam at low pressure with higher enthalpy, then it enters the lower pressure stages of the turbine. So, this is the low pressure turbine stage. So, the steam enters at state 3, reheated steam at state 3 enters low pressure turbine stages, undergoes expansion, imparts its enthalpy to the turbine plates. So, then produces WT2 amount of work, mechanical work, and comes out at state 4. So, then the steam enters the next device called as condenser at state 4, wherein it rejects Q2 amount of heat energy into atmosphere. So, then after rejection it gets condensed, then the condensate starts moving towards the pump. So, then the condensate at state 5 enters the pump, wherein it absorbs WP amount of work to pump it to the boiler pressure. So, then the condensate or the water at state 6 enters the boiler, it enters the boiler, and then it flows through the boiler tubes, then absorbs Q primary amount of heat energy from the boiler furnace. Dear students, please remember, here we are supplying Q1 amount of heat energy into the boiler, Q1 amount of heat energy into the boiler. So, this is the total heats generated inside the furnace. After this Q1 is the algebraic sum of Q primary and Q reheat. That is Q1 is equal to Q primary plus Q reheat. What is Q primary? Q primary is the heat energy absorbed by the boiler tubes, that is primary heat supply to generate the superheated steam before high pressure turbine inlet. What is Q reheat? Q reheat is the heat absorbed during reheating process, that is during the process 2 to 3 here. So, after understanding the schematic diagram, let us understand about the process names. Here, what is the first process then? The first process is isentropic expansion in the turbine 1, isentropic expansion in the turbine 1. So, that is 1 to 2. So, we have already understood 1 to 2 is the here turbine inlet state 1, turbine exit is state 2. So, 1 to 2 is isentropic expansion in stage 1. So, here next process is 2 to 3 process. So, 2 to 3 process isothermal heat addition in the reheater, means here at state 2 the steam is entering the state 3 here, state 3 here. So, it is entering the reheater coils, then absorbs heat energy inside the boiler during reheating process. So, then it comes out at state 3. So, here hence the heat is added isothermally inside the boiler. So, 2 to 3 process. So, we are writing it as isothermal heat addition inside the reheater. So, next process is 3 to 4 process. So, 3 to 4 process is here we have 3 to 4 process. From 3 heat enters the second stage of the turbine. So, 3 to 4 is again isentropic expansion inside the turbine stage 2. So, that is isentropic expansion inside the turbine 2. So next process is 4 to 5 process. 4 to 5 process is heat rejection inside the condenser. So inside the condenser, so we are rejecting the heat energy, that is 4 to here 5. So next process is 5 to 6 process. So 5 to 6 is here, that is pumping process. So it is isentropic compression of the condensate inside the pump. Next process is 6 to 1 process. 6 to 1 process is here, it goes inside the boiler and comes out at state 1 here, that is heat addition process, that is isothermal heat addition process inside the boiler. So this is how we write the process names. So dear students, let's understand about the TS diagram, temperature entropy diagram. So as we know from our previous classes, it's a very important diagram for solving the problems and analyzing the cycles. So let's understand about TS diagram here. This is the TS diagram. Here 1 to 2 is isentropic process. 1 to 2 is isentropic process. So we know for isentropic process entropy is constant. Entropy is constant. So isentropic line we can indicate by a vertical line on TS diagram. So this is 1 to 2 process. So here 1 to 2 is isentropic process. So 2 to 3. So 2 to 3, that is, so inside the reheater 2 to 3 we are adding heat energy. We are adding heat energy. So because of that there is an increase in temperature as well as entropy of the steam. So hence here from 2 onwards, 2 to 3 it undergoes, 2 to 3 it undergoes heating process. So because of that there is an increase in its increase in temperature as well as entropy. So this is the nature, that is 2 to 3 process. So after that 3 to 4. So what is the 3 to 4 process? So here I have 3 to 4 process. So this is 3 to 4 process, that is second turbine stage expansion. So that is 3 from state 3 it enters turbine stage 2. So then undergoes isentropic expansion process. So it's a constant entropy line. So vertical line I am drawing. So 3 to 4 process it is. This is 4. So after this from stage 4 it enters the condenser. So 4 to 5. 4 to 5 is a phase change process. As you know, it undergoes condensation by rejecting heat energy. So what is the pressure? Condenser pressure is P3 here. Boiler pressure was P1 here. So here the steam undergoes condensation from 4 to 5. 4 to 5. Remember at state 4 the steam is wet with high drainage friction. At state 5, so it is saturated liquid, that is at the pump inlet. So here at state 5 it enters the pump. So we supply pump work into this cycle, that is W suffix P is supplied into this one. So because of that there is an increase in its temperature as well as enthalpy. So 5 to 6, but still it is in liquid condition. So 6 is liquid condition. So that is 6 onwards it enters the boiler. Here from 6 it enters the boiler 6 to 1, wherein there is a phase change process as well as heat addition process. So here, that is, as we know, 6 to 1 is a phase change process, 6 to 1. So till it is saturated liquid, so here phase change process, so then this is superheating, so we know it. So then again the cycle repeats. So this is all about the TS diagram. So dear students, please note, so here we have added Q primary in 6 to 1 process and Q reheat, that is heat is added in 2 to 3 process into the cycle, and we are rejecting Q2 in 4 to 5. After that, let us understand HS diagram, that is enthalpy entropy diagram for the reheat cycle. So this is the enthalpy entropy diagram for the reheat cycle. So wherein we are plotting enthalpy on y-axis and here entropy on x-axis, entropy on x-axis. So here this is the vapor dome, and again we have the boiler pressure line P1, then we have condenser pressure line P3, this is P3, I am sorry for that. So P3, here the steam in the superheated region, that is at state 1 enters the turbine stage 1, undergoes isentropic expansion till second stage 1 to 2. So 2 to 3 is reheating process, and after reheating it enters the turbine 2 at state 3, then undergoes isentropic expansion. So 3 to 4 is isentropic expansion, hence vertical line, and from 4 it undergoes condensation at condenser pressure 3. So then again it enters into state 5, that is saturated liquid state. So 5 to 6 is pumping process. So 6 to 1 is again heat addition inside the boiler. So this is how the cycle repeats. So this is about the enthalpy entropy diagram. Hello. See here, so we are calculating thermal efficiency of the reheating cycle, that is, it is let us calculate the turbine work. So the turbine work is the algebraic sum of WT1 and WT2, and WT1 is the turbine work produced in stage 1, WT2 is the turbine work produced in the stage 2. So stage 1 is 1 to 2 process, that is enthalpy at inlet of the turbine is H1 and enthalpy at exit is H2, H1 minus H2 gives you WT1. So then again WT2 is H3 minus H4, that is, what is H3? H3 is enthalpy at the inlet of stage 2, H4 is enthalpy at the outlet of stage 2 turbine. So next we have pump work. So pump work we are neglecting it, that is WP is equal to 0 as it is negligible. So hence net work is change in turbine work and pump work, but finally it is WT only. So as WP is 0. So then again let us discuss about heat supplied in the boiler. So that is Q1. Q1 is Q primary plus Q reheat. So as we have understood in the schematic diagram. So let's discuss about the heat supply in terms of enthalpies. So the first enthalpy Q primary. So as you know, so Q primary is here. So it is nothing but in the process 6 to 1 it is happening. So, higher enthalpy is H1 here and lower enthalpy is HF6. So, why I am writing HF6? Because 6 is in the liquid state. So, then again Q reheat. So, next process is 2 to 3 process. So, that is 2 to 3 process here. So, I am adding Q reheat during this process. So, higher enthalpy is H3 here because state 3 is in superheated condition and lower enthalpy is H2 here. So, that is H3 minus H2 will give me the heat supply during the reheat process. So, here I will replace HF6 by HF5 plus WP. So, that is enthalpy at state 5 plus pump work. See here, this is the HF5. So, I am adding WP to this, that is pump work, so that the sum of HF5 and WP is equal to HF6, that is enthalpy. So, this analogy can be seen here also on HS diagram. So, here I have next step. So, wherein I have neglected WP, as I have assumed WP is negligible in the beginning of this derivation. So, then again Q1 is I am replacing in the next step HF5 by HF4. So, why? Because as you know, in the TS diagram we can discuss about this point, very important point. The 4 to 5 process is operating at condenser pressure P3. Let me assume condenser pressure as 0.1 bar. If you read HF value, that is enthalpy of saturated liquid at 0.1 bar, the HF value for state 5 as well as state 4 is going to remain same. So, hence we can consider HF at 5th state and at 4th state at condenser pressure P3 are equal. So, we can consider this for our discussion and we can replace HF5 by HF4 in our discussion. So, next we calculated the network as well as the heat supplied. So, we can write the thermal efficiency can be written as W net upon heat supplied, that is Q1. So, Q1 I have replaced in the denominator and W net is the numerator here. So, after this, if we consider the pump work, so pump work is here, the pump work is formula we can write Vf times P1 minus P3. So, where Vf is specific volume of the fluid at the inlet of the pump. So, that is Vf5. So, here Vf5. So, where P1 is higher pressure, that is boiler pressure, and P3 is condenser pressure at the inlet. So, we have used this formula in solving earlier numericals also. So, pump work formula, so finally we understood this one. Next, if you consider the pump work, So the above formula, this thermal efficiency formula gets modified in this way. So wherein nothing special, so only subtraction of pump work in the numerator. So after this we have thermal efficiency without reheating. So thermal efficiency without reheating. So here just observe the denominator, this is H1 minus HF4 only. Why? Because see here, without reheating process, the change in enthalpy, that is heat supplied, is only Q primary. So this will not be there, this will not be there, Q reheat will not be there. Okay, so therefore we need to calculate Q primary for this. So Q primary is higher enthalpy H1 minus lower enthalpy HF5. So when pump work is neglected, but HF5 is equal to what? HF4. So the final expression for Q primary, I can write it as H1 minus HF4. So why HF4? HF5 and HF4 both are same. So this is what we have written in the denominator here, that is H1 minus HF4. So here then again the net work is H1 minus H7, H1 minus H7. So because he writes the reason HF4 is equal to HF7. So H1 minus H7, that is, let us understand from the TS diagram. The turbine work developed is 1 to 7 process it will be, because there is no reheating at all. So this part will not be there even there is no reheating. With reheating, this was the net work developed. So here he has highlighted this. So here 1 2. So then again, if without reheating, if turbine expansion is between 1 and 7, so that the change in enthalpy in the turbine stage is H1 minus H7, H1 minus H7. So H7, that is as per our previous discussion, at condenser pressure P3, the HF value at state 5, state 7, state 4 are same. So I can replace this H7 by HF4. So the final formula for thermal efficiency without reheating is H1 minus H7. Students, hope you have understood this small derivation. So then again, let's understand about advantages of reheating. So there is what is the advantage of reheating process? So as you know, here the first advantage is there is a increased output from the turbine, that is work is increased. So how it has increased? So let me discuss on the TS diagram. So this hatched portion is the increase in the net work, due to reheating. So why? Because this area 2, 3, 4, 7, that is the area below 2 to 3 process, that is reheating process. So this indicates the net work which is increased because of reheating. So now this is the advantage of reheating. So then again, erosion and corrosion problems in the steam turbine are eliminated or avoided. So how erosion and corrosion are avoided? Because see here, because of reheating process, we are increasing the quality of the steam. So without reheating, the steam which is coming out of the turbine is in the 7th state, so which has less dryness fraction. So after reheating, the steam is coming out of the steam turbine at state 4. So state 4 is having more dryness fraction than state 7. So hence, if the steam comes out of the turbine with a more dryness fraction, there are less chances of forming droplets inside the steam turbine. So erosion can be avoided and corrosion can be avoided because of more dryness fraction present in the steam. So then again, there is improvement in the thermal efficiency of the turbines. So then again, final dryness fraction of the steam is improved. So disadvantages, so first one is reheating requires more maintenance. So reheating, why it requires more maintenance? In the schematic diagram we have understood, so we need to add reheating process in the cycle, so it requires more boiler tubes inside the boiler for reheating. So then again, increase in thermal efficiency is not appreciable because we have to fire extra fuel for reheating process inside the boiler. So then coming to the reheat cycle problems. So first problem, let me read the problem. A steam power plant with a theoretical reheat cycle with a steam at boiler, from the boiler at 150 bar it is coming out. Please note down the boiler pressure P1 is 150 bar pressure. So then again, what is the temperature of the steam which is coming out? So this is 550 degrees Celsius. Then expands through the high pressure turbine. So first it undergoes first stage expansion. So then it is reheated at a constant pressure of 40 bar. Here reheating pressure is 40 bar pressure and final temperature is 550 degrees Celsius, and it expands through the low pressure turbine to a condenser at 0.1 bar, that is condenser pressure is 0.1 bar. So then again, we need to draw the TS and schematic diagrams, and also we need to find the quality of steam at the turbine exhaust, that is first bit. Then we need to calculate cycle efficiency. Then again, the steam rate, that is at what rate the steam is flowing in terms of kg per kilowatt hour. So first let us start solving this problem. So as you know, the enthalpy entropy diagram which can be drawn for the present problem in this way. Let me zoom this one and represent the explanation about this diagram. So this is the enthalpy and we have entropy on x-axis. So here we have a constant pressure line of 150 bar, that is boiler pressure P1, and 1 to 2 is isentropic expansion in stage 1. It expands till 40 bar pressure. So then at same constant 40 bar pressure, so we reheat it again to 550 degrees Celsius temperature. So this is the 550 degrees Celsius temperature line, constant temperature line on HS diagram. So state 1 was marked with the intersection of 150 bar pressure and 550 degree Celsius line. So after reheating the steam, reheated steam at state 3 at 40 bar pressure, then again undergoes expansion in lower pressure turbine stages. 3 to 4 is isentropic expansion. It expands till 0.1 bar pressure line. So that is condenser pressure line. Okay. So here this is how reheat cycle is marked on the HS diagram. The same process has to be marked on the, can be marked on the Mollier diagram, Mollier chart, to obtain the enthalpy values. So how to mark it? See here, please identify the 150 bar pressure line on the Mollier diagram, then 550 degree Celsius constant temperature line. Wherever both intersects, please mark this as a point 1. So then again you come downward on the Mollier chart, so till 40 bar pressure line, wherever both intersect, you mark this as a point 2. See here, if you come left, I will get H1 value. See, if I come to the left side here, I will get H2 value. So after obtaining H1 and H2 values, so then again at the same constant pressure line, so that is 40 bar pressure line, I will move upward till it intersects constant temperature line of 550 degrees Celsius. Why 550 degrees Celsius? Because in the problem statement he has given after reheating the temperature is 550 degrees Celsius only. So then I will mark state point 3. So wherever state point 3 is located, so I am able to get enthalpy at state 3. So now from state point 3 on the Mollier chart, from state point 3, I will draw a vertical line downward till it cuts the condenser pressure line 0.1 bar on the Mollier chart. So wherever both intersects, so I am able to mark state 4 and I am able to get enthalpy at state 4, that is H4. Okay. So now I am able to obtain H1 value, H2 value, enthalpy at state 2, enthalpy at state 3, enthalpy at state 4. Please note down, on Mollier chart you have constant dryness fraction lines. We can be able to get the dryness fraction at state 4, so which is the dryness fraction at turbine outlet on the Mollier chart. So dear students, after following this process, so we will be able to, after marking the points on the Mollier chart, so this is the Mollier chart. So here let me go to the first stage here. This is the 150 bar pressure line. This is the 150 bar pressure line. I am moving along with this here. So I am moving along with this, and here I have 550 degrees Celsius constant temperature line. So I am moving in this direction. So wherever both have intersected, so I have marked the point 1. So wherein I am able to obtain enthalpy as 3450 kilojoule per kg. So that is on from H1. So this is 3450. So we can get it as a H1. So after that I am moving downward, vertically downward, so till the 40 bar pressure line. So that is from state 1, this is the state 1, so 1 to 2 I am moving downward till it cuts 40 bar pressure line. So here I have to get 40 bar pressure line. So this is the 40 bar pressure line. Here I have 40 bar pressure line. So here I have 40 bar pressure line. So then from here I will move downward. So wherein, so I am able to mark state point 2. So where I will be able to get H2 value from this and intersection of 40 bar pressure line. So now from 2 I will move upward. From 2 I will move upward along the 40 bar pressure line only. So till it cuts 550 degree Celsius line. So here I have 550 degree Celsius line. So wherever 40 bar pressure and both cuts, so that is marked as a state point 3. So this is our state point 3. So 3 to 4 again it undergoes expansion. So here 3 to 4 it is isentropic expansion in stage 2. So it moves downward till it cuts 0.1 bar pressure line. So where is 0.1 bar pressure line? So let me zoom this one. So here we have 0.1 pressure line. This is the 0.1 bar pressure line. So I have to move along this direction. So if you move this one, here I have the enthalpy H4. So wherever this is the 3 to 4 expansion. So here I have condenser pressure line 0.1 bar. So wherever both have intersected, so we have H4 value. So please note down here we have dryness friction values. So this is 0.85, this is 0.9. So if I move in this direction, so 0.6, 0.87, 0.88. So this is our state 4. So that is 0.88. That is X4. X4 I can write it as 0.88. So this is how we can use the Mollier chart. See, after getting the values from Mollier diagram, these are the values that we obtained. So then again HF4 from steam table. So enthalpy at state 4, so enthalpy of saturated liquid at state 4 from the steam table this. So we can get it from the steam table. See here we have the condenser pressure 0.1 bar. So the HF value 191.8 and these are the values for our reference. So after that the quality of the steam, that is the first answer as we understood from the Mollier chart. The quality X4 we have already determined, that is turbine outlet X4 is 0.88 from the Mollier diagram. So next we will calculate the cycle efficiency, that is second bit. So we know the formula for cycle efficiency is this is the formula for the cycle efficiency, and we will substitute all the values that we have obtained and we are able to get the cycle efficiency. So, next we have the steam rate, that is specific steam consumption. So, we know it is 3600 divided by W net. W net is, that is first turbine work, second turbine work, and we have the values that are substituted, and finally we are able to calculate the steam consumption rate. Okay. Thank you. Students, let us have a quick brief revision about this class. Here, as we understood, this reheat cycle consists of a boiler, then 2 stages inside the turbine, that is the speciality of this. Then we have a reheat section inside the boiler. So, please remember that. And again, heat supplied is Q primary plus Q reheat during reheating process. So, the turbine WT1 is the turbine work produced in stage 1, WT2 is the turbine work produced in stage 2. So, here we have total turbine work is WT1 plus WT2, Q1 is the total heat supplied, Q2 is the total heat rejected. So, now here, so we understood about the processes. So, So, then again we please remember, in case of TS diagram, so this is the total network increased because of reheating process. So, hope you have enjoyed this video lecture, and so I expect all of you to practice the problem. For any queries, feel free to discuss with me. Thank you.